Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. Which means, and among God's miracles on earth is this, among His signs is this, is that He created your spouses from yourselves for each other in order that you may find tranquility and peace together, and He made between you compassion and mercy, mawadda and rahmah. In this there is an example for people of understanding. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called marriage a miracle, an ayah, a sign of His greatness and mercy and beauty, love and compassion. Not only is it a miracle, it's an act of worship. You have gathered here today on an act of worship. Marriage is worship. So when someone gets married, look at your wife and you look at your husband, always remember that this husband and wife, Allah has given them to you to perform your worship. Marriage is worship. For this reason, it's not about just the individuals. You are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your marriage. Every action that you do, every word that you say, every service. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then said, in order to make tranquility and peace together. Allah is talking about Adam alayhi salam. When Allah created Adam alayhi salam, then Allah created his wife Hawa from him, from his same substance. So that's why Allah said, He created you, and from the man He created the wife. Therefore, a man should look at his wife as though she is a gift given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the wife should treat her husband at the value that she is, which is that gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It also means that the man, Allah created us from each other, so that the man needs his wife and the wife needs her husband. Each one needs the other. And subhanallah, you have your family, you have your brothers and sisters, you have your friends, you have all these people, and they fulfill a certain need in your life. However, the husband and wife fulfill for each other needs that no one else can fulfill. It is amazing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the love between the husband and wife very unique. It's not shared between anyone else. So if mothers, for example, or a mother-in-law, a wife, if they happen to get jealous of each other, maybe the son or the husband loves his mother more than his wife, the wife more than the mother, this is impossible. Impossible, because the love is so different. The love of the mother and the love of the wife. So there's no need to worry about that, inshallah. The unique love, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already placed it in such a way that there's no need for each one to be jealous of the other, for example. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in order to find tranquility and peace. So the objective of the husband, the objective of the wife is to work towards how to establish peace and tranquility together. And there is a very important point here. The best way, in fact the only way to increase love between the husband and wife, is as soon as the husband and wife think about the other person's feelings and rights. As soon as the husband thinks about his own rights and the wife thinking about her own rights, the love begins to diminish. So mawadda or tranquility and peace is based on selflessness. The husband should be thinking about what makes his wife closer, and the wife thinks about what makes her husband pleased and closer, not the other way around. And this is the meaning of ihsan. In Arabic, وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Do acts of ihsan. Allah loves those who are muhsinin. Ihsan is when a person gives more than just the right of another person. A person gives more than what the other person deserves. They give more from yourself for the sake of Allah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He made between you mawadda. Mawadda is a verb and a noun in Arabic. The best word I could find was compassion. But mawadda is when somebody exerts some kind of service towards someone else in order to win their hearts closer. They create a friendship and a closeness together. More like a closeness. The husband does good towards his wife in certain ways that he knows will please her. The wife does certain good things in a way that pleases her husband. Eid comes, for example, maybe Al-Faz likes going fishing, I don't know. She buys you a fishing rod, no. So he doesn't like fishing. Don't buy him a fishing rod, this will not make him closer to you. Brother, for example, it's your wife, you want to buy her a present, for example, right? You like bowling, you don't go buying her a bowling ball because that's... Okay. So we buy her something that she loves. And some men, they buy their wives Mac makeup or something, Mac or something like that. That's Mac makeup. You know it. They love it. They love it. They say how thoughtful you are. What is known from that is that he is thoughtful. And what he knows from that is, subhanAllah, she appreciates her husband. The husband normally wants an appreciation from his wife that he got her a gift. Doesn't really want much from his wife. Isn't that correct? Brothers and sisters in Islam, mawaddah is very easy in the beginning of the marriage. When everything's brand new. Brand new wife, brand new husband, very easy. Later on, the brand new becomes normal. It's no longer brand new anymore. It becomes a bit more yellow. So then Allah SWT says, wa rahmah, mercy. And this is really what marriage is based on. If you ask your parents and your grandparents, they'll tell you, son, daughter, rahmah, mercy. And what is mercy? It's when someone does something wrong to you and you're able to punish them. But then you let them go, you pardon them, you forgive them. Otherwise to say, I've given you mercy. What? They've done nothing wrong with you, to you. So as soon as someone does something wrong to you and you have the power to punish them, you let them go and pardon them, inshallah. This is mercy between the husband and the wife. Brothers and sisters in Islam, I leave you with 5 beautiful words which I always try to emphasize in every relationship. Number 1, always have trust between each other. If there is no trust, there is no relationship. And to maintain the trust, you need to assume positively about each other. As Rasulullah ﷺ said, أحسن الظن بأخيك. The husband should assume positive about his wife, and the wife assume positive about her husband. You know, when sometimes they say something or do something that can be negatively interpreted, the shaitan comes and says to you, interpret it in a negative way. Interpret it in a positive way, inshallah. And this is the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ saying, استوصوا بالنساء خيرا. For example, the men, think about the good qualities that your wives have. Talk about the good things that they have. In other words, focus on the good qualities and let the bad qualities be, on the side. And that way you create a good person out of that person. You by mentioning the good things, by mentioning their good qualities. Secondly, after trust, once you have established trust, then transparency is very important. Obviously, if you don't have trust, you're not going to be transparent. But if you have trust, then the second thing, be transparent. Be open. Be open about your likes and dislikes. And here I'd like to emphasize a point. As a science teacher, I love to bring a bit of science into the picture. You know, the men and women, they both have a brain. Is that right or wrong? We both have a brain. They sort of. Aladik, brother. So, the brain has a right side and a left side, right and left hemisphere. Both men and women have it. The right side is responsible for the logic and common sense, and the left side is responsible for empathy and emotions and creativity. Both the men and women have that. But there's one difference. They both have a muscle in between these two hemispheres. In the men, it's a thin muscle. And in the women, it's a thicker muscle. Which means that the men's muscle in the brain is weaker. And the woman's muscle between the hemispheres is thicker, is stronger. What it means is that the communication between the two hemispheres with the man is much slower. And he uses the logic side more than the empathetical, emotional, creative side. For the women, the communication is very quick and strong. So when a woman thinks logic, she's also thinking emotion and empathy at the same time. And that's why when she's crying and she's trying to tell you something, she's telling you, try and look beyond my tears, try and understand what I'm trying to say to you. And the man can only think in blocks, it's just 1 + 1 = 2. Can't you understand that? So when a woman points to the table, at a spot on the table, the man looks only at the spot. But when the man points to the spot on the table, she looks at the spot and all the other 1,000 spots on the table at the same time. Creativity. And that creates empathy in the woman, subhanAllah. So the communication between the husband and wife is very important in the marriage. To be able to be transparent, you need to understand how men and women communicate. When we were boys, the way we made friends, I remember, is that after we had a fight, we'd punch each other out and then we'd become friends. Or we play sports and competition, I beat you, you become friends. Girls, however, are a little bit different. They get together and they talk. They talk about their emotions, their secrets, their problems. They cry on each other's shoulders and they say, I'm just like you. And then they become friends. When they get married, the wife thinks that he's like the girls and he thinks she's like the boys. So he comes in and says, what's this business about you talking so much about your emotions? He thinks he's got to get into the solution mode. So he gets into logic and says, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, a boy. And then she says, what's this, man? He's trying to boss me around and tell me and control me. So the communication between the husband and wife has to be understood. Number 3 is tolerance. You need to tolerate each other's bad habits. You know those habits in the beginning you call cute? husband and wife, they're looking at, it's cute the way you do this, cute. A couple of years down the track, they call it irritating. It becomes irritating. Stop doing that. In the beginning it was cute, now it's irritating. These habits never go away. You need to tolerate them, look past them. And when you marry someone, you marry the whole family. This is part of the miracle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ ذَكْرًا وَأُنْثَىٰ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. When you get married to someone, you actually get married to the whole family and tribe and everybody that's connected to them. And love actually increases when your husband or wife see that you actually value and respect the people who they value and respect and love. So tolerate members of your in-laws whom you don't really get along with. Tolerate it. And when you come home, you both can appreciate each other, that you look past these things. Think about the relationship and tolerate it. My advice is, do not talk negative things about the in-laws, because the husband and wife may know this about their father or mother or their brother and sister. The last thing they want to do is hear it from their spouse, because naturally we'll defend them. And then we'll turn outside and think, damn, she's so right. But I'm not going to tell them. So we need to try and avoid negative comments about people we love. Number 4 is time. Make time for each other. The husband needs time with his wife, the wife needs time for her husband. Avoid social media. So for example, you buy her a tiramisu and then she goes and puts it on Facebook or social media or whatever it is, and then look, my husband, what he's doing for me. Brothers and sisters in Islam, leave time specific and special for each other. The whole world doesn't have to know. There are jealous people out there, there are envious people out there. And those who show themselves smiling in the park and I don't know what on Facebook, wallahi, it's all fake book. So we have to be careful of the fakeness. Everybody can smile for 2 seconds. And then look at them after they've taken their shots. There's zombie-ish behavior. People don't really look at each other in true character. Number 5 is talking. Keep talking to each other. Now, I watched once a documentary about an American diplomat who was retired, and he was responsible for negotiating and speaking with the enemies of the state, countries who were not allies. And they said, how did you manage to maintain a peaceful boundary between you and them? He said, never stop talking. You never stop talking to them. So imagine with the enemy, by not talking, you can maintain these relationships. Then in a marriage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, keep talking to each other, compliment each other, praise each other, joke with each other. And when it comes to serious stuff, don't spend more than 10 minutes on it, subhanAllah. So keep talking to each other. Now a lot of sisters, they say, brother, my husband, he's so mute, he doesn't talk. And a lot of brothers, they say, brother, my wife talks too much. I say, listen, you both talk almost exactly the same statistically. The only difference is that the topics of interest are different. You should see the men when they're together. Allahu Akbar, 1,000,000 words a second. Now brothers and sisters, when your wife talks to you a lot, brothers, it means that if she enjoys your company, she's finding someone to release the tension upon. And the husband, when he's mute, he's relaxing. So when he's listening to you, alhamdulillah, it's a good thing. Brothers, listen. Okay, and sisters, don't do his head in too much. There's a limit to everything. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Rasulullah ﷺ did tell us these following hadiths. He said to the men, first of all, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي. The best among you men is the one best to his wife, and I'm the best among you to my wife. Why not your mother? Because your mother has authority over you, you don't have authority over her. But the wife, Allah has given the man the authority over her bil-ma'ruf, within reason. He is the leader. Therefore some men can abuse their authority, or they can use it in the best way. Therefore Rasulullah ﷺ is encouraging the men to use their authority, their leadership in the best way. A leader is someone who stands up for the best interests of their flock, of their wife and their children. Number 2, Rasulullah ﷺ ordered the wife to follow her husband. The word in Arabic is ta'ah, which means obedience, but you can use it a bit loosely. Following with reason. It's a following of love, a following of to create happiness and order in the house. Imagine a husband and wife, each one wants to make an important decision. He goes right, she goes left. An important decision, and they're both stubborn. You have to find a solution. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, let the final decision rest on the responsibility or the shoulders of the man. So if he makes the wrong decision, the wife won't be blamed, and if he makes the right decision, she won't be blamed. But brothers, get your wife to help you in making decisions, inshallah. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them a remarkable ability that the man sometimes doesn't have himself. Brothers and sisters in Islam, finally, our parents and our in-laws. Respect them, love them. Only mention good about your husband and wife to your parents, because as soon as it goes out of your 4 walls, it's very hard to control. Your parents and your in-laws, they'll be thinking something's wrong probably for years, and you would have worked it out in a day or 2. So my brothers and sisters in Islam, there have to be mistakes. in order to learn together, Insha Allah ta'ala. And do not go overboard, everything has a balance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our homes with love, compassion. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins and shortcomings. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.